Let's start here with the NBA and the offseason. And James Harden, we all know he opted into the Sixers and immediately wanted to be traded. There's some information that came out. Rob G will give us that. And then I basically want to hear from you, JR. What do you think is the better place for him to go? Is it to stay with the Clippers stay with the Sixers or go to the Clippers? But Rob G, come in and tell us what The Athletic has reported.
Sure. Well, earlier this week, ESPN reported that even though James Harden had still, maintained his trade demands out of Philadelphia, there was a reported, quote, path to reconciliation between he and the Sixers.
Right.
While The Athletic, Sam Amick shot that down in a hurry today in his latest column, saying, quote, Harden's stance has not changed. He still wants to leave Philadelphia. He's still upset with how Daryl Morey handled the situation heading into free agency last month. And here's the key thing. He's still determined to start next season in a Clippers jersey.
Wow. JR, where should he go? Stay in Philly or should he go out to L.A. with the Clippers? Where are you on this?
Honestly, he should retire out to the strip club where he likes to be when games are most important. But if we're talking about specifically where James Harden should go, let's see. I guess the Sixers would probably be the best place to stay with Embiid and those guys. But I don't think that either team is going to win anything with James Harden. He's proved that over his career that he becomes more burdensome than anything else, particularly around playoff time when you need him to lock in and produce some clutch performances, something that he continuously failed to do in the playoffs. So whichever team doesn't get him is probably the luckier team. So you don't have to deal with, all that comes with James Harden because it's a lot more than just basketball. So stay with the Sixers. They probably have a team more built to win a championship if he ever does decide to show up in clutch moments in a decisive championship type game.
The gut is probably to stay where you are because you have Embiid and there is an opportunity to win and Maxi's there and they have some good players. But there's another part of me that says if you can go to the Clippers and they can finally just have one season where they're healthy and make a real run at it.
That's a big if.
Well, I mean, that's the history of their franchise. Unfortunately, I've never seen a team struck with so much bad luck and people continually getting hurt. And the one year when they were fully healthy, they choked to Denver. They were up 3-1 and lost that series with the Kawhi and with Paul George. And then without Kawhi, they went to the Western Conference Finals, which didn't make any sense when Paul George led them there. And then, of course, the last year, of course, injuries. So James Harden, I mean, obviously there's something there in Philadelphia that he doesn't want to be there because he opted in to get his money. I don't think that there was much else out there for him, so that's why he opted in instead of, trying to go elsewhere and try something else or hoping that somebody would sign him. But here's the other thing, is we have seen the playoff James Harden. Maybe he doesn't finish the job, but we saw him go into Boston without Embiid and beat the Celtics. In game one, and we saw him win game 5, which is usually a pivotal game on the road when, again, Rob G, correct me if I'm wrong.
What did he shoot in the fourth quarter, the decisive game, though?
No. I'm just saying, but he did go on the road in 2 big games and scored over 40 points. So we know about all of his woes. I'm not acting like those things don't exist. But we also have seen moments where we say, my God, no Embiid, they win game 1 in Boston, and he was on fire. And game 5,
right, that's who he is
which
now.
is usually
once in a while.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest
once
issue.
Once in a blue moon. Yep.
But if he can give you a few games, and you do have Kawhi, and you do have, and I don't know.
He's proven that he can't anymore.
No, I said a few games, not like he's going to lead you. And if you have Kawhi and you have Paul George, now I don't know what they'd have to give up to get him, which was probably some draft.
Too much for that guy right now.
You can't give up obviously your team because that would defeat the purpose on getting him. But I'm going to say if I had to pick one of the two, I'm going to say the Clippers only from this standpoint. I think he doesn't want to be in Philly anymore. The same way he didn't want to be in Brooklyn. The same way he didn't want to be in Houston. And I don't know if I want a guy who doesn't want to be there. I've always said either you're in or you're out. And once a guy tells me he doesn't want to be there, I'm not going to force you to be on the team because you're not going to give your all. If you remembered at the end in Houston, he showed up wearing a fat man suit. You remember he put on all that weight because he wanted out. And I
Why
wonder,
would I ever trust him after that?
well, I mean, I agree. Like you have to question whether or not, but when you're trying to win a championship, sometimes people will make that. You're not going to take them on a team you're trying to build. But if you're the Clippers and you're moving into a new building, you got to make a decision on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And if I'm Steve Ballmer and I could get him and win a championship, you're like, all right.
When's the last time he's played?
I'm done. I'm done.
Kawhi Leonard. Like I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't get into these hypotheticals with these players that are on their way out. Kawhi Leonard does not want to play basketball anymore, Rob. Why are we talking about him over? Like the last time he's even done anything, that was in Toronto. We're still talking about Kawhi Leonard. The last time James Harden was even relevant at all was for a little stretch in Brooklyn when they went, 16-3, something like that, and it looked like he might be finally playing a role that can help him win a championship. I'm personally ready, and I'm trying to stick on topic here because you did chastise me for going a bit off the topic in the last two segments, and I apologize to producer Rob if I did. But the thing is, I just get tired of talking about these guys that are now in the twilight of their careers. They're shells of their former self, but they think they command hundreds of millions of dollars as if they're really game changers. James Harden's not a game changer anymore. He's a nice little player that used to be a great player that can give you some bursts of production here and there. But we're discussing James Harden as if he's an impact player that's going to change the fate of a team. He's not that guy anymore. So that's why I'm tired of talking about him. I'd like to talk about some of the younger players who are far more impactful, far more dedicated to actually winning.
I get that.
Right.
But we're talking
Kawhi
about
Leonard ain't been around.
But we're talking about Harden.
I know he's going to go to the Clippers and play with who? So all of a sudden, Kawhi and Paul George, who have played, 30 games together in how many years, they're going to get together. Kawhi's going to be healthy. George is going to be healthy the whole year. Harden is going to come in, and they're going to rise to the top of the Western standings. No, they're going to be the same team.
Well, they went to the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi Leonard when only Paul George was there. And Tyronn Lue is a hell of a coach. I got to admit, he is a really good coach. I've watched him up close being here in L.A. I didn't know how good of a coach he was when he had LeBron in Cleveland because you take for granted. You got the best player, so obviously you're going to be a good coach, right, because you're going to win games. But I've seen him make changes and make different personnel changes and change lineups and do stuff to win, and I'm impressed by him. And I just wonder, with James Harden, with your career ticking down, do you finally say, yeah, I do want to win a championship. I don't want to be a player who's known for bouncing from team to team and nothing working out.
Okay, if he says I do want to, so what does that entail, Rob? So you said James Harden says, yeah, I do want to win a championship.
Well,
I guess he didn't say that for the last 4 teams. So what does this new James Harden, does that entail not going out every night and to strip club? I'm being honest, strip clubs and parties. Does that say I'm going to really buckle down now and try to win?
No.
Or is he still going to go out every night and party every night and on after game 1 fly out with the baby and Lil Baby and go to the party and the Kardashian and Khloe and I don't trust them, bro. I don't want them.
Right, but that's not a question. The question is which
stay
team.
With the Sixers.
Okay,
stay with the Sixers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay,
I
get that. I get that. But this is not like he's not a free agent. I get that. If you were a GM and I asked you, did you want him? Then your argument would make sense. I mean, it would be like, I don't want him.
I don't.
So you're
That's
saying,
my point.
okay, so you're saying he should. But if you had to pick one of these two, you're saying he should stay.
I open with saying he should stay. I open with saying he should stay on the Sixers.
And I'm going to say,
but if I'm the Clippers, why would I want him?
because they haven't had enough to win.
He's a shell of what he used to be.
Yeah, but they still haven't won, and you still look like this is what they do all the time. You just can't look at it and go,
I know, and it
well, we
doesn't
haven't
bring them
won.
champ-
We haven't won, so we'll just still keep doing the same thing we've done. No,
If
that's
James
not how you
Harden
do
had
it.
one- If James Harden had one of these, bro, one, I'd believe you. If he had one ring, I'd say sure. I just seen his act way too many times.
All right,
He needs to stay in Sixers, Philly, and let Embiid carry him.
All
And
right,
try,
what's
like
the
you said, try to have some spurges of games, great games. That's it.
what's the better option for James Harden? We want to hear from you. 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. What's the best option for James Harden? Is it staying with the Sixers or going out west and playing with the Clippers? We'll continue that conversation next with you. It is the
Raphael and Cincy, you're on The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio. What you got?
All right,
Tell me
brothers.
I'm not crazy.
All right, brothers. Hey, see, for the beard, Harden, the option would be to stay in Philly because I don't want him going to the Clippers and making a good team worse. Now, you remember what the greatest Laker of all time, the Black Mamba, said. You're not going to win a championship with that guy. And Kobe said that years ago. Before, that was Harden years ago. Now Harden, like you said, brother, that his skills have declined. And I think like Harden and maybe Kawhi and some other players around the league, they might be a little long in the tooth. But I think more than that is they're not thirsty anymore. So I think on like maybe 1 or 2 games a week, they'll go out there and just like, okay, like I feel like going all in like that. But the rest of the time, they've already got their ring, they got their money and everything. They're just not thirsty anymore. But as far as Harden, no defense. You don't want him. He can't separate from defenders, officials. They're already hip to him.
Yeah, but you also I hear all that, but you did see him do some work to the Celtics twice in two big games.
Stop it.
Let's not stop it. These are facts. I mean, he scored over 40 points in game 1 with no Embiid, where they could have focused in on him, and he still was able to get off. And game
and he
5,
couldn't move for the rest of the series.
I know, but there were those glimmers that give people hope that maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's why he's still playing.
I agree.
877-99 on Fox. Who we got next?
Next up is we got Al in South Dakota. You're on The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Doing great. What's up, Al? What's up?
Hey, man. James Harden played himself last year by not taking that long-term deal, trying to play Daryl Morey and being the good faith that they were going to give him the big deal. But the reality of the situation is he could go to L.A., they could get Dame, Giannis, and they will always find a way to be the Clippers. It don't matter who they get. It's a Lakers town.
I hear you. All right, and there's the peanut gallery. We just heard that. Very nice. Go
Little
Lakers.
cutie in the background.
I love that. 877-99 on Fox.
Raymond in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got?
Yo, what's up, brother? Hey,
What's up?
thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I think Harden should go ahead and stay in Philly. I mean, that's his best bet. It's not like he's going to end up winning a championship anyway. I think his career is kind of like on the downside. The best thing he should do is just stay in Philly. Don't worry about Houston. Don't worry about L.A. Stay in Philly.
Yeah, because you know what? Let me say this, Raymond. All that talk about Houston, he was trying to leverage that. I never really was buying into it, and you saw them that they weren't interested in James Harden. And Chris and I were both. Even when that talk was coming, it just didn't make any sense. He wanted out of there. Why would they go backwards with a bunch of young players and put a James Harden in the middle there? So that didn't make sense. And you know what? To their credit,
Unless he was a leader.
Yeah, but he was. You know that ain't the case, right?
Right. Okay.
877-99 on Fox.
Gary in Houston, you're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
What's up, Gary?
Yes. So this to me is not even close. It's clearly the Clippers. Joel Embiid is just like Harden. He can't play in the playoffs. If you go to the Clippers, you have 2 guys who have proven more in the playoffs than Joel Embiid. In the regular season, he can play great. It'll be easier to load manage Kawhi. and then Kawhi will come back, and Harden won't need to step up in the playoffs. And JR, you and the caller don't make any sense. You're saying he's all declining, so go be the third guy. Why do you want to be the second guy?
Right, if he is declining, right, he could be the third guy there and not be the guy. And Embiid hasn't done well in the postseason. We saw that this past year against the Celtics. His numbers.
Gary's assuming he wants to win.
Well, we gotta assume unless he told you that he doesn't want to win, right? We have to assume unless he tells you either way that he does or doesn't. All right, we'll squeeze another one in 877-99 on Fox.
Sam in Texas, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Am I crazy?
No, not at all. First of all, why are we automatically assuming that Harden needs to go to the Clippers? Shouldn't Philly be the one, trying to get the best?
No, he wants to go to the Clippers. That's what the story is. We're reporting what the story says, which is that he wants to go to the Clippers, and we're asking you, should he stay where he is or should he go to the Clippers? Because we're not making up the Clippers out of nowhere. That's what he's told his people.
Okay, no, that's fine. I get that. But if that's the case, then it doesn't matter what Harden wants. I mean, he hasn't been loyal. He hasn't been a staple of the team. I mean, the Philly doesn't owe him anything. If anything, they should get the best deal, that comes along for Harden. That should be the main issue. Why should Philly trade him to a team that he wants to go to?
Well, because
doesn't owe him anything.
I hear you. I understand that.
You usually got to win to call shots, right?
But the only problem is you don't want a disgruntled player either. I mean, let's not – you guys can say that all you want, but you don't want a guy who doesn't want to be there. Once a guy doesn't want to be there, you got to move him. I mean,
but how many times you going to move Harden? How many times we going to move him? He didn't want to be in OKC. He didn't want to be in Houston. He didn't want to be in Brooklyn. Then he didn't – why do we care?
All right.
Let him stay in the Sixers. Let him stay in the Sixers.